Good morning. Good morning, YouTube family. Good afternoon and good evening, wherever you might be. This is Escape from Crazytown, and this is our Happy Crappy Hour where we go live and we. Oh, I have some stuff going on in the background that I'm trying to quiet down. So sorry about that. Um, this is where we go live and we get to discuss what our happies are and what our crappies are that happened this past week, and also learn a few things from each other. And today's topic is kind of had me laughing actually, and not in not in a mean way, but it was just kind of comical. But I was reading an article where a narcissist, a self-proclaimed narcissist, I guess, was saying what they found excruciating to them. It was one particular thing, and I'll have it in our list here. I have a short list. It's like 4 or 5 things, but it's so funny what narcissists find excruciating, because we look at that and think, really? That's just insanity. But knowing how selfish they are and how self-centered they are, it makes complete sense. So glad to see you guys hopping on here. This is great. I am not at home this this week, so I'm doing this remotely from a friend's apartment. We're in her setting here. She has a lovely place, and I'm so glad that she's letting me use this time and her home to do my happy crappy hour. Sorry, I left something over here. That's in the way. A little clutter. Sorry, you guys. I'm a little bit off because I'm traveling, and yeah, just construction's going on around us, all kinds of nuts, crazy things, but it's all good. I'm so glad I'm here. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it today because I'm just so off kilter today. And, when you're traveling, you're just not in the mindset of work or focusing on a particular thing. Anyway, I'm here. So good morning. Sorry about the rambling. So I want to tell you what my happy is and what my crappy is this week. So my happy is that I'm traveling and I get to spend some time with new friends that we had made. Actually, about a year ago, we planned to do a trip together. So we're doing that. So that's really great. I'm just kind of excited. I'm excited that we get to spend the time together. The crappy is that, well, one of our friends recently had to put her dog down, which is so sad. And it's such a hard thing to have when you lose a pet. I don't know about you guys, but my pets are like my babies. They're my children. I love them so much. They give me so much joy, and I love to love them. I love to take care of them and spoil them and, teach them things. It's a great relationship that you have. Pets are so amazing because they give you this unconditional love, and it just breaks my heart when they have owners that don't love them. But it's also so hard when you lose your pet. So that's what a friend of ours is going through, who is joining us on this vacation. So that's my crappy, and I'm trying to figure out like how to be sensitive to her while we're out and about and enjoying ourselves. But also giving her time and space to mourn the loss, right? It also conjures up a lot of things for myself because we lost a pet a few years ago as well. And, I still think about our little dog. She was so sweet. And anyway, that's my crappy, So mourning a death, mourning a loss is just, you have to give yourself time. You give yourself time to recuperate and not feel like you have to be on for other people. But it's kind of hard because, especially if you're, you have to go back to work, or you're meeting up with people and you don't want to take away from them. So I know she's going to be going through that on this vacation. So that's my crappy, but I'm hoping that we can be considerate of her and mourn with her, even though we're spending time that, bonding and enjoying ourselves. And I'm live, but oh, here we go. Hey, you guys, so sorry. I don't know what's going on here because it's a different place and I'm on my friend's Wi-Fi. I just got cut off suddenly, so sorry about that. Well, hey, you guys, I'm glad that you're here with us today. Kevin, good to see you. Says, hello, narcs be narkin, LOL. True, right? And then the more we learn about them, the more comical it becomes, the more amused we become, actually, despite the pain. And that's what this channel is about, is to find healing, but also get back to laughing and enjoying life. We don't want to be stuck in a part of our life that was so excruciating to us, so tormenting and painful, that we cannot get out of the pit, right? We don't want to stay there. There's definitely a time for that. There's a time for mourning the loss of your relationship with the narcissist, or the loss of your future, what you thought was going to be your future. And I definitely want to be here for you guys as you go through that as well, and answer any questions that might help you. But along the way, I hope you find that you're able to laugh. I hope that you'll find that, the more you learn about the narcissist, the more your mind is blown. You just completely cannot understand how a person can behave and think and just live life the way that they do, because it's so disconnected, but it makes no sense, to the point where you just, it's just wackadoo. That's what I call it, wackadoo. But anyway, so Obi-Wan, good to see you. Says, I was wondering what was going on. Yeah, because my screen kind of shut off. Jihad, good to see you. Oh, Obi says, my happy is I met a narc that tried doing the love bombing. Sorrow stories. Wow. She had flying monkeys, and I was the one guy to step up and call her out on her nonsense. And she cleared my pad and wants me. Oh, cleaned my pad and wants me. Whoa. Yes, things like this you just find comical, like, oh wow, you call them on it, and then you become this what do you call it, you're now something to overcome, or to win over. You're now a challenge to them. It's just insane. It's so funny. So here we go. Amanda, good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. So you guys, let's get on with what narcissists find excruciating. And I hope you guys add to this as it comes to you, what you've noticed as well, because what they find excruciating to us is normal, right? It's just a part of being human and part of interacting and socializing. I'm going to see if I can change this to point up a little bit for us. No, I cannot. Oops, sorry guys, my finger's getting in the way there. Yeah, it's kind of hard to make shift stand and stuff. Oh, here we go. I think that's good. All right. The first one I have is apologizing. They can fake apologies to manipulate people, right? They can definitely do that. That's no problem for them to, oh, I'm so sorry, I'll never do that again. And if I had hurt you, just all this stuff. If, what I did, meant this to you, whatever. They will apologize to get on your good side, to get you off their back, to just shorten the argument or not have to deal with the argument, right? They'll fake apologize. No problem with them for that, to do that. But what they hate to do is give you a genuine apology. They cannot stand that. When they are forced, backed up to the wall, and everybody knows that they're wrong, and everybody knows that the narcissist had messed up, and now the narcissist has to take responsibility. They hate it. It's so humiliating to them. They cannot deal with it. They don't like to look bad in front of other people. They don't like to look incompetent, right? To them, it means you're incompetent. So they don't like that. They don't like it when they misspell words and they're corrected, right? They don't like that. So that's just excruciating to them, to have to admit to being wrong or making a mistake or taking responsibility. So when you see a narcissist squirm around, like most of us, no, it's not great to be wrong, but most of us have the humility to recognize we're not perfect, right? We're going to make mistakes. And when we make a mistake, we're okay with saying, oh, I'm so sorry. And especially when you hurt somebody and you didn't intend to, or, you show up late to something, and you forgot somebody's birthday, something like that, you're going to apologize genuinely because you didn't mean to hurt their feelings. But to a narcissist, they're like, why would they care about your feelings in the first place, right? Other than to manipulate you to do what they want. So that's the only thing they're concerned about, is if they can manipulate you with an apology, they have no problem with that. But if they have to admit that they're wrong, they're actually really wrong, and they are held accountable to the mistake they made, no. Like cheating, oh no, they're not going to apologize for cheating. And as you know, they'll deflect it. They'll project onto you the responsibility of their actions. So it's your fault that they did whatever it is that they did. So you can tell that a person is feeling so uncomfortable when they're apologizing, when they start deflecting onto you your responsibility of their actions. So that's one of the things that a narcissist does, that I just look at it and I just, it boggles my mind. It just, I cannot even understand. I just feel like bursting out and laughing, because I think, okay, this person obviously is at fault, and yet they're blaming everybody else in the room and not seeing that they're the ones who caused the problem, right? So incredible. Mike says, exactly, Escape. No real genuine apology. Sorry, guys. My little stand is not working. I'm using a little mixing bowl as my stand. Okay, Mike says, no real genuine apologies come from narcissists or sociopaths. Yeah. They have to be perfect. Nothing else they can never be wrong. Yes. Persia Motorman, good to see you, says, I know one who hit a woman in the face. Oh my gosh. And he acts as though it were her fault, right? For hurting his hand. Yes, right? It's incredible. They will blame you for causing the accident or causing damage to them when they're the one hitting you. You're like, what the heck? That is exactly how it is. And they cannot apologize. Whoops, there it goes again. Sorry, you guys, this mixing bowl is not the most stable, so you're going to you're going to see this fall a few more times, I'm sure. Let me see here, you guys. Obi-Wan says, they don't cheat. You're the cheater. Yes, of course, right? You're the cheater. Or the reason they have to cheat, because you're not attentive enough, and you don't appreciate them enough, or you don't whatever. And you know what? Okay, let me explain something. I'm not against being able to tell your partner that you need to feel appreciated. I'm totally for that. There are times that I know that I'm not the best at appreciating my husband, and I check myself though, right? I have to stop and check myself and realize what a good man he is, and I want to make sure that he feels appreciated. I want to make sure that I love him well, because he loves me so well. I just feel like it would be such a travesty not to love him back as well. He deserves that. For a narcissist, though, it's not about saying that, they don't feel appreciated, so they want to, because they love you so well, and they're doing everything they can to make the relationship work, and you're just bashing them and hurting them and not appreciating them. If that's the case, then, we have to reflect and see, like, what's going on with us. Why are we being so critical or holding back so much and not helping this relationship? Why are we harming the relationship, right? You need to be pouring into the relationship as well. So if your partner comes to you and says, hey, can we talk? I just kind of feel like I need a little more, whatever it is, attention, time, concern, something from you. Listen to that. That's not a narcissist, that's just normal human relationship. But narcissists will demand this. The narcissists need it constantly, and then they don't return it. There's no back and forth. There's, it's very one-sided. So you guys, let me go back here and see. Yeah, Mike says, something narcissists or sociopaths can never do is self-reflect. Nope, they can't. Crystal Jean, good to see you. Let me see here. So glad you're here. I love it when you come because you have a lot of good comments. Matthew says, oh, hi, Matthew. Good to see you, actually. Whoa. See, I'm sorry, you guys. This is not the best band I have, but this is what I got to do. I'm visiting a friend for those of you who are coming on, and we're doing this happy crappy hour at her apartment. So I'm so thankful that she's letting me do this. Actually, she's at work, so this works out really well for us. Mike says, everything is always our fault, never theirs. Correct. Matthew says, you. Yeah, they blame others. They don't stop and think about what could they have done differently. Why should they have to apologize, right? The reason they do anything is because other people, right? It's their reaction to other people. So why do they need to apologize just because they're reacting to us, right? Here's the deal. We apologize when we react badly to people. We have a choice, in every situation to make it worse or make it better. And narcissists don't see it that way. They don't see that they have a choice to make it better. They just think that if they feel bad, then everybody else should feel bad. Oops. Hey, you guys. Sorry about that. Sometimes my Wi-Fi cuts in and out over here. We're in the city, and I'm not sure what the deal is. So, okay, you guys. Oh, what is this? Crystal, hold on a second, Mike. Crystal says, bedroom nursing our baby. What? I missed something. Crystal says, excuses for his behavior this time. I said, what about the other affair? These excuses didn't exist back then, he said. Get a load of this. He had the affair because I was always up in our bedroom nursing our baby. Oh my gosh. Yes. I get it now. I'm sorry. I didn't see that comment before. That's exactly it. They compete with the children. They don't take care of the kids. They see the kids as taking attention away from them. It's very sad, and it's really horrible for the kids because the kids then are to blame, and the kids then are going to be the scapegoat for all the bad things that happen to the narcissist. They're going to take it out on the kids. They're going to see the kids as competition for attention. It's just horrible for kids to have a narcissist parent. For those of you who've had it, you understand what I'm talking about. Crystal says, so long story short, in his narc brain, that affair was justified because I was up in the bedroom nursing our child and keeping him alive. Yes, of course, right? And it is ridiculous. Crystal says it's, just ridiculous. And that's what makes me I know it's not a funny laugh, but it's kind of an ironic, it's just ironic. Like, what the heck? How can they possibly think this way? How can they live this way? How can they feel this way? It's total insanity. Sorry, you guys. I'm also sitting on a table, so sometimes you'll hear me scooting around, and anyway, you'll hear a lot of weird noises. And there's drilling going on in the apartment building because they're fixing, I guess, the outside of this building. So you might hear that as well. Number 2, you guys. Number 2 of what a narcissist finds excruciating is making a commitment that you expect them to fulfill. Yeah, that's why I just kind of laugh. I'm like, what the heck, really? You are upset because you have to fulfill a commitment that you said you were going to do. You said you were going to pick up my mom at the airport, and you didn't. What the heck? He's like, well, I had other things I had to do. Other things came up instead of, I'm so sorry I didn't do this, and I arranged another ride for her. No. So they find it excruciating when you hold their feet to the fire, of course, and require them to actually come through with a commitment. Yes, they love bombing, right? But as you know, a lot of the love bombing is fake promises. Yeah, I'm going to take you to this amazing restaurant. I'm going to take you on this beautiful vacation. I'm going to buy you this and that, or whatever it might be. Or the woman, it could be male or female, by the way. Narcissists both do this. Both sexes do this. they'll make promises of what an amazing life they're going to have together. And then when you expect them to fulfill these things, they're like, what? Well, I don't have the time. I don't have, other things have come up. Things have changed now. I don't remember promising that. Yeah. So you can never, that's another reason, by the way, that you can never, ever rely on a narcissist. That's why I just don't. I let them make the commitment though, because it's kind of funny. I love to sit back and listen to the narcissist make a commitment. I'm like, okay, I don't actually think you're going to fulfill this commitment. And depending on the narcissist, I'll see, I'll pressure them when it's time to fulfill that commitment. If it's some people that I knew from the beginning, they're making these lame promises. Oh, I'm going to help you move. I'm going to help you, whatever, I don't know, get your car to the mechanic, right? They'll make these promises, and you're left sitting there for hours waiting, wondering like, well, how come they didn't show up? They say and they'll lie to you up to the hour that they're supposed to show up. Oh yeah, I'm going to be there. I'll be there, on my way. And then they just don't even show up. You're like, what the heck? Yeah, this happened to me with a narcissist I knew. He was supposed to pick up this elderly lady to come to a dinner I was having, right? So I invited a bunch of different people to come over for dinner. And there was this elderly lady that I had met. She lives alone, and just very sweet woman. I'd run into her at church. So I asked the narcissist if he could pick her up on the way to my house for dinner. So he says, yeah, sure, of course. So the day of the dinner, the evening of the dinner, we've got everything set up. All the guests have come except the elderly lady and the narcissist. So the elderly lady calls me and says, oh, is my ride coming? Do you know if he's going to be here? And should I wait outside? Should I wait inside? And I was like, no, you should wait inside. So we give him a call, and he says, yeah, I'm going to get her. So we said, well, should she be inside or outside? And he's like, yeah, if she wants to be outside, that would be great. So we tell her, okay, he's on his way. You can wait outside. She calls me another 20 minutes later and says he still hasn't come. I mean, long story short, an hour later, she still hasn't arrived. So my husband leaves the dinner party to go pick her up and bring her over to our place. And then she had a great time. And I felt so bad for her that she sat around for an hour waiting for this turkey who never came to pick her up. And the reason, I'm pretty sure, after getting to know this person a bit more, is that he was sitting at a bar trying to pick up the waitress. That would be my guess. And when that didn't pan out, he ends up coming to the dinner party totally blasted drunk, and not even apologizing for why, he did the fake apology. I'm sorry, I didn't pick her up. I'm a bad person. I get it. I'm a bad person. And you're like, okay, well, yeah, you're a jerk. When I held his feet to the fire and I said, look, I think it was a few days or a couple weeks later, I had this conversation with him, and I said, and I don't even remember why it was brought up, but we brought up the dinner party. And I said, oh yeah, because I think he was telling me how dependable of a person he was. And I said, no, you're not a dependable person. And that's when I brought up the dinner party. He's like, oh yeah, when was I not dependable? I said, well, when you were supposed to pick up this elderly lady friend of ours, and you left her hanging outside, for an hour. And he says, oh, well, here's the defensive move. He says, oh, well, I'm so sorry if I embarrassed you. So instead of saying, yeah, that was a jerk move, you're right, I shouldn't have done that, I feel so bad for leaving her outside, he ends up trying to attack and defend by saying, oh, I'm so sorry that this embarrassed you. Like drawing it back to how I'm such a self-centered person to bring this up, right? And I said, no. Here's my response to him. I said, no, you didn't embarrass me. You embarrassed you. So he was just thrown back and had no idea, what to say to that. And that pretty much shut down our conversation. So you guys, that is a narcissist who, when you hold them and you expect them to fulfill a commitment, it is totally excruciating to them because they expect to be able to make empty promises. They expect to be able to manipulate people with just their words. If words will do, why would they have to take action, right? So here's the thing for us to learn. Don't just go with people's word, right? We have to look at their actions as well. And to narcissists, words are so cheap. Words mean nothing other than to manipulate whoever their supply is and those who are watching, their flying monkeys, their fan club. They will use words to flatter, to make promises, to, make these commitments. And to us, words mean your honor, right? Your honor is tied to your word. Not so with a narcissist. And they find a way around it. They find a way to make you responsible for what they committed to. They find a way to turn it around to make you look like the bad person in this situation. Yeah, just like it was said earlier, how someone had hit a woman and then was complaining how she hurt his hand. It's just insane. Yeah. You guys, let me see. There's some conversation going on here. Let me back up a little bit. Mike says, exactly, Escape. My dad's a great example for doing that. And I think that was back about apologizing, but Crystal, oh, wait. Obi-Wan was saying that Crystal Jean story is not a long story. It's the same story, different narc. It is. It really is. They follow the same script. And, once we learn what that script is and we're able to recognize their tactics, then we can better react and we can better protect ourselves and not get overly invested, right? We know what to invest in. We want to invest in good people in our life. But narcissists, sorry, you guys, I'm going to turn this bowl a little bit because it's wobbly. Oh. But we want to invest in people who are going to add to our life, who are going to benefit our life, and that we can actually affect in a good way, right? We don't want someone who's just draining us of life. We want to have a relationship. So be careful and be choosy about who you let into your life. Mike says, everything's about competition with my dad. Oh, Crystal Jean says, I'm sorry, you guys, I kind of read through at times, so I may not react properly to your comment, so I will be getting back to it. Crystal Jean says, sold my house, moving onward and forward. It sold quickly, thank goodness. Amen, yay. Mike says, everything's about competition with my dad. Oh yeah, we were talking about kids and how when the kids of a narcissist have such a horrible life because, as Mike is saying, the dads or the narcissist, it could be the woman, because in my case, it was my mom. Everything's a competition with the child. The narcissist does not love the child. The narcissist competes with the child. And it's a horrible, horrible way to be raised. Persian Motorman says, if anyone, let me see. Oh, you are so right. I know. I agree with you. I know there's some people out there who are type 8s who are going to be really upset about this. So I'm trying to see like how a type 8. Okay. Persian Motorman says, if anyone has time, Google Enneagram type 8 and see if you think that personality type sounds like a lot of narcissists. I so agree with you. I was reading that a few weeks ago. I've read a couple, 3 or 4 different books about Enneagrams. And we were listening to this one book. I got it on audio. And this guy was describing his daughter, who's an 8. And he's praising her because it's his daughter. So he's, talking about what a wonderful person she is. But then he describes her behavior. And I think, she's a freaking bulldog. She is rude and harsh and self-righteous and self-centered, but he calls her loyal. Like, oh, those that she needs to protect, she will defend to the death, that type of thing. And I'm thinking, no, she is so egotistical that she will not back down, and she will crush people without knowing the whole story. She will jump on them and crush them with whatever perception she has of the situation, rather than figuring out what needs to actually be done. Like, that's why narcissists are so dangerous, because in their world, justice is so wrong, so evil. Justice, you do not ever want a narcissist to hand down justice. So this author who is writing about his Enneagram 8 daughter glorified it, glorified how loyal and what a fighter and all this that she is. But you're right. Mike, when you listen to the description of an 8, I just kept thinking, no, she's a narcissist. That's what it is. So you're not the only one. Jay of all trades, good to see you. Hold on, you guys. Things are slipping around. Says, gets you committed, then bails over and over. Like, they just want the attention of the commitment. Exactly. They know that if they make promises, it makes them look good. They know that when they make a commitment, you think, wow, what a great guy or a great gal, I can't believe, yeah, they're going to make a meal for this, family. Oh, they're going to give this elderly person a ride. What a great guy, right? And then they bail. And most people don't know about them bailing. It's just the person that they bailed on is hurt. But they do this repeatedly, and they do it to so many people. But they just don't care. It's just, yeah. Oh, but you know what? Jay of all trades makes another good point. They get you committed too. So, can you imagine them saying, yeah, the two of us, we're going to come and we're going to help you clean out your attic, or we're going to come and we're going to help you clean up whatever, take apart your car and fix it. We're going to come and help you. So they commit you along with them. And guess who shows up? You show up. And then where's the narcissist? Not there, right? And you're like, what the heck? How did I get roped into this? But yeah, Obi-Wan is replying to their comment. Says, let your dad win whatever he's trying to achieve, to that narcissist dad, because narcissist parents are competitive with their children. Let him feel good. He sounds kind of old and won't be here much longer, so hopefully you understand him better now. Huh. Wow. Well, it depends on how you mean to let them win, because I also have friends who's narcissistic. One has a narcissistic dad, one has a narcissistic mother, and both the parents are extremely abusive in language. They're just very mean about everything. They have to win every fight. They're elderly, and they're just bitter and angry people. I have an uncle like that, and no, I'm not really cool with letting them win. I'm okay with just walking away. Like, if that lets them win, that's fine. But walking away from that, because you don't deserve the abuse. But I get what you mean, Obi-Wan. I think that with a non-narcissistic parent, yeah, okay, let them win. But with a narcissistic parent, the winning does not stop the abuse. Giving into them doesn't stop the abuse, doesn't really appease them. It just makes them more brazen about the abuse. Mike says they never keep their promises, Escape. No, you're right. They don't keep their promises. Mike says, I guess Obi-Wan still don't like him lying about me behind my back and stealing from me. Yeah, you don't need to let them win in that sense. You let them go. You walk away. Crystal Jean says, I'm an INFP, so keeping my house showroom immaculate and having strangers coming through at any given time is literally the stuff my nightmares are made of. Yeah. Jay of all trades says, ego is the narc's amigo. I like that. Persian Motorman says, I had one friend that made promises to visit me over a 10-year period. Oh yeah, from New York. Very trying to listen to it over and over. I agree with you. That is another promise they do make. Yeah, we're gonna get together. Yeah. Yeah, and Crystal Jean says they will literally promise you their soul to get whatever they want in the moment. Yes. Yes. Oh, Obi-Wan says, my bad, Mike. I was talking to Crystal Jean, somehow got that chat mixed up. Oh, okay. Okay, I get it. Sorry, Obi-Wan. We all got you. Okay, Crystal says both covert and vulnerable narcissists that I have dealt with had an ISFJ result in the Myers-Briggs. I have to look up the Myers-Briggs letters again and see what, I know I means introvert. I think F is for fun. I don't even remember. What is S and J? Okay. Let me see what it says. It's not what they actually are because they're nothing, but that's how they see themselves. Yeah. Sorry, you guys. I'm just going through some of the comments to see. Yeah, Crystal Jean's responding to my comment about, oh, sorry guys, my stand, as I said, my makeshift stand does not work great. To my comment about how the narcissist I was dealing with, who did not pick up the elderly lady he was supposed to, says to me, oh, I'm so sorry that I embarrassed you, just in a really catty way towards me. And I said, no, you didn't embarrass me. So it just, caught him off guard that I was able to fight back and hold him accountable. But yeah, Crystal says, oh my goodness, they always do that. I don't know what I ever did, or I guess I'm the bad guy. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they do. They act like, you're supposed to give them sympathy because suddenly now, they feel attacked, they're like, oh, so I'm the bad guy. Like, yeah, you are. You're the bad guy. Like, just take responsibility, for crying out loud. Yeah. Yeah. Obi says they have no boundaries and make you feel like the jerk for not accepting it. Yeah. Well, you guys, I have two more things on my list, actually, that are excruciating to the narcissist, and I want to get to that. Let me see here. Oh, okay, yeah, I like this. Crystal Jean says, has anyone else gotten to the point where your main sentiment towards their narc is, well, just pity? Honestly, they are just pathetic to me, really. Yes. Yes. That's why, in some of my videos, I know it kind of, people who are not there yet can't understand, why would I feel sorry for this narcissist? I do, even the really vile ones, because what a way to live, I don't pity them as in I feel sorry for them over their victims. That is not the case at all. I definitely feel pain for their victims, very sympathetic towards their victims. But I pity the narcissist because I think, I would not want to live the way that they live. What a miserable life that is, right? Yeah. So you guys, let me get to, wow, there are a lot of other comments here. Thank you guys. This is awesome. Amanda, good to see you, says, or then he would also make commitments for both of us that imposed massively on me. And I think it was a test. He let friends move in with us who made life really difficult. Yes, exactly. They have no problems making commitments with other people's resources or other people's time, or other people, at other people's expense. They don't check with you to see if it's okay with you. They just, oh my gosh. If it makes them look good for offering, they'll do it. Janaea, good to see you. Good morning. Oh, wow. Yeah, Amanda says, or would let them come stay with us and behave in ways he would never tolerate, but then allow it just to watch me get upset and then get mad at me. Because it makes him look bad if they can't take advantage. And yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from. And it's all about your husband or ex-husband. I'm sorry, I don't remember what you had written there. Oh, I don't think he said anything about him being. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. You didn't say he was ex or current, but yeah, narcissists will make commitments and then you have to hold up your end of it to help make them look good. And if you don't hold up your end of it, then that makes it nullifies their commitment or their offer. And the brownie points, like you were saying earlier, it gets, nullifies their brownie points, and then they get mad at you. That's the crazy thing. Ian, good to see you, says, hey, fellow survivors from UK. Oh, good to see you from the UK. Hello. When you understand their agenda, it's hilarious when you know their next move before they do. Yes, right? It is hilarious. That's why I sit back and I'm just amazed. Megan, good to see you, says, my ex-narc spouse used to tell, text, email that he is, insert whatever awful behaviors and acts, because he is INFJ. Again, not owning his behavior. Oh, so that's what an INFJ does. Wow. Yeah, it's almost like they're proud of their horrible behavior, of how they've used people, and they can't see. They see it as an entitlement, because if the person is so ignorant or dumb to be used, then they deserve to be used. That's the way the narcissist thinks of that situation. They don't see that, no, you have a choice here to not take advantage of someone. You have a choice here to do the right thing, to make the right decision. And they think, oh no, if I can take advantage of this person and they're willing for me to take advantage of them, then they deserve this and I am entitled to this. And they see no problem with that, and they think it's hilarious, or they think it's a win for them. They're proud of it. It's like a badge of honor to them. It's very, very creepy. Well, you guys, let me move on to number 3. So number 1 was apologizing. It's excruciating to them. Not the fake apology. They can do that to the ends of the earth. But real apologies, that is excruciating to them. When they have to apologize for cheating on you, or you're going to leave. Like, they have to be genuine. Try to be genuine in apologizing to you in order to keep you, right? And that's the only way they will try to genuinely apologize. But of course, it's not genuine. It's so excruciating to them to admit fault. Number 2 was making a commitment that you expect them to fulfill. So you actually hold them accountable to the commitment that they made. It's excruciating to them. It's so painful to their ego and their entitlement. Their entitlement. Yeah, I don't know how you even say it. That's how they live, right? Number 3 is hearing praise for other people. It's excruciating to them. They cannot stand standing by and hearing you praise somebody else's good looks, or somebody else's good fortune, or somebody else's good choices, right? Their good character. Whatever it is, they will feel instantly competitive with that person. They're like, well, what about me? I'm better looking than that person. I'm more fit than that person. I'm more whatever, I deserve that promotion. whatever you're praising the other person for, they're going to feel like they were entitled to whatever that person had or accomplished. Um, Whatever attention you're giving to that person or accolade you're giving that person, the narcissist, it's like it eats up their ego. It just is so excruciating to them to sit by and listen to other people being praised. Now, that's not to say they haven't learned to fake as if they, are good with that and they can add to it and they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But inside, it just tears them apart. I've seen this so many times with the narcissists in my life where, especially the covert narcissist, they're the hardest ones to detect because they can go along with fake praise and they even will be the ones praising other people. And that's what happened with the covert narcissist in my life, and why I didn't see the red flags, or I just kind of dismissed the red flags. Instead, I heard the good things. Whenever she would say nice things about other people, I thought, oh, yeah, so nice, that she would praise this person or that person. But come to realize the people that she was praising, now that I look back on it, were people of stature or status. I'm sorry, people of status and people that can make her look good. So it's almost like she was buttering them up, and getting on their good side, right? Yeah, and she did. She got invited to all kinds of things with these people. But then she also backstabbed the people who were closest to her, who actually cared about her, who were very supportive of her through her very lowest points. She backstabbed them so many times. And then you just go, why don't you say something good about those people who were there for you through your roughest moments? Instead, you're praising these other people who have done nothing for you, but they have the status to make you look good, right? In public. So that's what the covert narcissist does. And you don't realize that until, for me, years later, and after I learned about narcissism, you think about the people in your life and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. These people are exhibiting these traits. They are exhibiting these behaviors. And you start to open your eyes to the fact that, wait, maybe I'm with a narcissist. Maybe, and things will start to fall into place though. You'll start to hear, or you'll start to notice like, wait a minute, now all of their bizarre behavior or their irrational reactions make complete sense. Yeah. So number 3, you guys, again, was that they cannot stand, and it's so excruciating to them to sit through somebody being praised. And can you imagine it's somebody that they don't like, somebody already that has more than them, is better than them, is more handsome, is better looking, more muscular, as a woman, hotter, whatever it is, it is excruciating for them to hear. Amanda, good to see you. Oh, I'm sorry, you did come earlier. Says, escape, it's my ex. Don't get it twisted. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure you were talking about an ex-husband or a current. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of going through. I know I've missed a lot of comments here. Ooh, I can't go all the way back, so I'm sorry if I missed some of this. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, Crystal brought up a term, altruistic narc. That's true. The ones that make commitments, and it looks like, wow, they're such good people, and they may, follow through with some of those commitments, but you never know when they're going to and when they're not going to. They're not reliable. Ian, good to see you. Forget coronavirus. Narcissism is the new pandemic. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. There's a conversation about the Myers-Briggs types, and I'm not very familiar with them. I'm slightly familiar with them. It's been a while since I looked them up. I'm gonna see if I can get caught up a little bit on the comments here. How far back am I? Ooh, Megan, good to see you. Says, I used to praise my stepdaughter only to have ex-narc spouse, her own father, chime in that the achievement is good, yes, but if only she could do better at blah, blah, blah. So minimizing of her. Yes, that's exactly what these narcissists do. Sorry, you guys, this keeps falling. You praise them, you praise somebody else, and they may even, like you said, will say, yeah, that's true, but, and then they find the negative in it. You're like, what the heck? This is not a time. It's because they feel so insecure, and that's how you can tell it's excruciating for them to sit there and listen, because they can't just accept praise for somebody else. They need to criticize them and bring them down a notch, because they need to feel better than whoever it is you're praising, even if it's their own children. They're very competitive and they're very critical of other people, because they compare themselves continually with them. They expect other people to be up to par with what their perception is of themselves. It's horrible. Let me see here. I have one last item for what is excruciating to a narcissist. And this last item, by the way, is I found in an article I had read where a narcissist was talking about, let me think. It wasn't even, the title of the article was not about what's excruciating to narcissists. Oh, it was what's hard for narcissists to fake. That's what it was. So a narcissist wrote in to the comment and said, or not comment, whatever you call it, they were contributing to the article, and they said that something that was excruciating to them as a narcissist. And that kind of made me go, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. Okay, what is excruciating to the narcissist as professed by a narcissist was listening to someone else. Listening, and this person rattled on and on, said, listening to others rattling on and on about themselves and their stories and their experiences is excruciating. They actually use the word excruciating to that narcissist, the self-professed narcissist. So that's what got me thinking about today's topic, because I thought, wow, if that's excruciating to a narcissist, I can get it. And by the way, it's excruciating to us to listen to a narcissist prattle on and on about their problems and their perceptions, and not even on and on, repeatedly, right? You'll hear the same stories over and over again that still has them in bondage, that still upset them, that, something that they still hold a grudge over. And decades later, right, they're still regurgitating the exact same story. And you're like, seriously, really? So it was kind of funny to me that a narcissist would say that it was excruciating. I don't know if it was a man or a woman. I think it was a woman that said, or at least, yeah, I don't know. The name that they gave the person seemed feminine to me, but it might have been a man. But it's just funny to me that the narcissist finds it excruciating listening to us, right, and our problems and our whatever it is we want to share with them, because of course they want the conversation to be about them, and they're trying their hardest not to build a relationship with us, of course, but to build a rapport where they can manipulate us, right? So they have to pretend to be interested in what we're saying. So this narcissist was saying how they were, It was just excruciating for them to sit through listening to other people talking. And it's hilarious because it's excruciating to us to listen to them. We're just like, what the heck? You've got to stop talking about yourself. You have to stop gossiping about everybody under the sun. You have to stop panning and smearing everybody. We're tired of hearing how everybody has wronged you. We're tired of hearing how horrible everybody else is and how altruistic and angelic you are. We're tired of hearing your made up stories. It's just hilarious to me. But that's what spurred on today's topic, that, the things that are excruciating to narcissists. And I hope that has been helpful to you guys. And I hope you were able to see, wow, I have dealt with narcissists that have behaved this way. Because once we start to see what not necessarily triggers them, but what motivates them, right? Once we start to see their behaviors, and then it kind of throws us through a loop because it's not consistent with normal behavior, right? Their reactions are not normal reactions to a situation. What they talk about, how they blame people, how they can't take responsibility or follow through with a commitment, how they can't apologize when it's obviously their fault, right? It just boggles our mind. That's what makes it feel like Crazytown when we're with the narcissist. But once we start to see like, oh, they don't think the way that we do. They don't have the same type of, sympathies and empathies, and they don't have the same concern for others that we do. They don't think outside of themselves, and they don't also question or introspect. So once you see that, then you realize, wow, this all makes sense. If you're coming from this demented type of thinking, of course, this is the way you would react, or the way they would react, right? Not that makes it right, but it makes more sense to you. It makes you go, wow, that's why it's so Crazytown with them. That's why we cannot try to figure, or not that we're trying to figure them out, and we can actually figure them out, but that's why we can't change them, because it's illogical. Their behavior, their reactions come from an illogical point, and to make logic of it, to try to get them to understand the wrong of it when they just can't understand how what they feel is wrong. You're like, okay, so just because you're feeling this, it makes it right. No, that's not true. They have to understand, like, just because they feel it doesn't mean it makes it right. Just because they feel angry doesn't make it right to lash out, right, and hurt somebody. Just because they feel insulted doesn't make it right for them to smear somebody, right? They feel this, it's their perception, but the reality or the facts are not correct. But they'll act on their perception of what happened, even though their perception is so self-centered and so skewed, they can't understand or see that they're not seeing the truth. And that's what kind of bothers me. I know this has been thrown around a lot, like, oh, live your truth. That's such a big, and at first it seems such a nice thing to think about. Like, yeah, you don't have to live by somebody else's standards and somebody else restricting you. I get that, living your truth. But when it gets to the point where your truth becomes your perception and not necessarily facts, and not necessarily taking into consideration those around you and what's actually happening around you, your truth becomes this fantasy world, like the narcissist's fantasy world, that they try to impose on other people. So, for the narcissist, I think living your truth to them is probably like their life motto. That's the way they live their life all the time. If they live their truth, and to them, it's reality. Their truth is reality, and everybody else has to kowtow and has to play by the rules of the narcissist's perception of what's going on in life and whatever. Yeah. So, okay, I just went on a little bit of a, I don't want to say rant, but we got to be careful about these mottos that come out, and stop and think about it for a moment, if this is actually helpful to society, or is this very self-serving. There is a point where it's useful, some of these mottos, especially for those who have extremely low self-esteem and have been manipulated or victimized by narcissists. They have to break out of that. They don't want to live in the narcissist reality, right? They should live in their own, but not really. They should live in the true reality. And the true reality is a better place. The real world is a much better place to live than in a fantasy mindset, or the narcissist fantasy mindset. Because when you live there and when you live in this fantasy, you lose touch with people, you lose connection with those around you. You don't build better relationships. You don't build close relationships. What you do is you isolate yourself. So that's my little piece on that, you guys. I hope that this has been useful to you, and that it helps you to see the crazy thinking that happens inside of a narcissist's head, right? And that we're actually okay. We're actually doing great, because we don't suffer from this. We don't suffer from living in this delusional world that they live in. We can plug into reality. And when you plug into reality, that's where you live real life with real people. And it's so much better there. You get to connect with people, and you have these long-term relationships that are logical, right? They actually build up and get stronger and stronger with each year, rather than staying the same, stagnant, right? Or getting worse year by year. And that's what happens with a narcissist. They're so stuck in their fantasy world that they don't build stronger relationships year after year. Their relationships get weaker and weaker, or stay stagnant. Yeah, because you just can't grow in this fantasy environment. There's nothing to nurture it. Well, let me see what you guys are up to here. Water Grove, good to see you. I know I'm skipping a lot, so hopefully I get through some more of the comments. Oh, I missed it. What did I say? Oh, Water Grove says, you are so right, Escape. You know what I find excruciating? Being controlled by someone who can't even handle themselves. Their standards become irrelevant. Yeah. So, yeah. So, that's what a narcissist does. They try to impose control over you when they have no control over even themselves. Like, they cannot control their own emotions, their own failures, and yet they want to direct to you. Oh my gosh, I got to tell you guys something else. Okay, before I leave, and we're gonna, we'll see if you guys want to keep talking for a while, but I got my 4 points out. I wanted to share that with you. The other thing that just occurred to me, and it's so funny that Water Grove kind of reminded me of, is, as they try to control other people, even though they don't have their life in order, they want to give you advice on how to put your life in order, and their life is a total shambles. Oh my gosh, I have seen this so many times. It's hilarious. I remember this one guy who came over for dinner one time, and it was the boyfriend, actually, of the covert narcissist. And he was an overt narcissist at the time. At the time, I had no idea. I didn't know what narcissism was. I did not know what to look for or anything like that. I just looked at people and saw their character. I just kind of shake my head, like, this does not bode well for them. But I'm not attracted to this whatsoever. Okay, so he comes over and he's sitting at our table, and he has, let me think, he has 2 kids. I think he has a son and a daughter from a previous marriage, and I think he had been married like 2 or 3 times, and now he's with the covert narcissist and dating her. And he is giving advice about raising children to another couple that was there, who have amazing children, by the way. They have just brilliant, kind, smart, talented children who are respectful and who are caring. I mean, these kids volunteer, they have good grades, they excel everywhere they go because they're just very personal people. They're just really sweet and funny and humble, and you just feel good around them. But I remember him giving advice to this couple on how to raise their children when his own children, his son and his daughter, don't talk to him. They don't want anything to do with him. They don't want, they are sick of him. And I'm like, I just sat there at the dinner table flabbergasted, right? I hate that word. I don't even know why I would use that word because it doesn't sound like me, but I was just like, what the heck? How? It just blew my mind that he was giving advice to another couple that were, first of all, still married after 20 years or so and had amazing children of their own who were, actually people were constantly coming to this couple and asking them, what do you do? How are your children so wonderful? And what do you do at home? And they're sought after for advice, right, on how they raise their children. And here he is telling them how to raise their children without knowing anything about them. And I know his backstory because the covert narcissist had told me about him and his relationship with his kids. And the couple was very kind and gracious and listened and didn't make him feel like he was a moron for suggesting really stupid advice. I cannot even remember what the advice was. I wish I could. I wish I had written it down. But whatever advice it was he gave to them, it just struck me as that's the dumbest advice I had ever heard in my life on how to raise a child. Gosh, I cannot remember what it was, but that's what struck me about him. And that was my impression of him. That was the first time I met him. So that's why I remember this, how I felt when I had met him, because I just thought, wow, this guy has no clue. Anyway, so you see, narcissists, they want to control other people. They want to give advice. They think other people should listen to them because they're so smart or wise and they have the right perception about everything, that they will give advice. He would give advice to Mother Teresa. That's what I would think. I think that narcissists would give advice to Mother Teresa on how to be more compassionate. That's how narcissists are. You just are blown away by their ego. And they see nothing wrong with it. They think, well, isn't this natural? Because I think this is the best way. So I'm just sharing with another person. Yeah, it's so silly. But another thing that I think is kind of funny too is, and not that it's just narcissists that do this, but let me think, how many of these narcissists that I know, not all of them actually have done this, but a couple of narcissists I knew or have known, I remember them telling me how they want to write a book. They want to write a book about the things that they are, from outside perspective, the narcissists are completely horrible at. They are such failures at this, whatever topic it is. And that's what they want to write about because they think they have this great insight and they think that they have this great wisdom that they want to share with everybody. But all they really have is a story of failure, like a story of what they did that caused the trauma, that caused a horrible outcome in their life, and with no solution. But they think that to hear their story. Oh my gosh, the guy with the elderly lady, he also wants to write a book. The covert narcissist I was telling you about, she wants to write a book. Both of them feel like they have so much to share with the world, and it just blows my mind. Anyway, just wanted to share that with you guys. Well, I'm going to give you guys a couple more minutes to wrap up and say goodbye. And I'm going to go through some of the comments here. Oh, that's great, Watergrove. I hear this. Okay, Watergrove just wrote, I was raised by greater narcs. I have their traits and values. Sometimes you'll hear it come out, but my heart is good because I choose to be good. Yes. Yes, thank you so much for commenting on here, Water Grove, because I have said this multiple times in my videos, and that's, um, sometimes we think someone's a narcissist because of their trauma of having been raised by narcissists, but as a child of a narcissist, you learn their traits. In being in that environment, you're almost shell shocked. You have a lot of triggers, you have a lot of healing to do. So your response from your wounding a lot of times comes off as narcissistic because you don't know how else to behave. You've had this embedded in your mind. It's been a part of you for so long as you were being raised, how the narcissist behaved and how they handled problems in their life. You might tend to start off doing the same thing. You might start off having the same types of triggers, the same or response to triggers. You might have the same outbursts or pain that comes through, but truly, it's wrong. You don't want to be like this, and you do your darndest to be better and make better choices. And the more good choices you make, the further you get from the narcissistic traits. The more you repeat and practice the new and better traits, better responses, calmer, just calmer responses and not outburst reactions, the better you become, and the less the narcissistic traits will show up, so I'm all for that. Oh, Vonda, good to see you. Says hi. Hello, EFC. Good to see you. Oh my gosh, Mike says narcissists will even treat strangers' kids better than their own. Not even, right? I mean, they do that, hands down. I have seen that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, they will treat the strangers' kids better. That's, yeah. Not to get into it, but that's exactly how my mom was. She thought that somehow other kids were so much better. It's a whole perception thing. That's the problem with narcissists. They have such bad perception, such limited perception. They cannot intuit. They cannot understand what might be happening elsewhere. For instance, if they see they'll compare their kids to other kids because they don't know what the other kid is like, the stranger's kid is like at home. I hear this all the time, how parents will always tell me how their kids behave much better with strangers than at home. And of course, the narcissist will see the good behavior of their kids, and then their kids are like a total mess up at school and a total mess up in the neighborhood. And everybody who knows that kid well knows this kid is a total mess up, right? But the narcissist will only see the shiny outer layer of the kid and compare their own children to that shiny layer of the stranger's kid. You're just like, really? Because it doesn't really even matter to the narcissist if the other kid is spectacular or wonderful or anything like that. They're just so critical of those who are closest to them. They're so critical of their own children because their own children remind them of some standard that they cannot meet themselves. So they take it out on their kids. I have met this standard in myself. Not that they acknowledge that, but then they expect their children to meet that standard that they haven't even met themselves. Yeah. You're right, Mike. Thanks for pointing that out. Oh, yeah. Janaea says, none of my marks finished school, so they poo-poo my bachelor's degree. Yep. Yep. My school sucks, not Ivy League. My degree sucks, and all my cohorts to boot. Yes. Yeah, they put down your accomplishments. And the crazy thing is, they haven't even accomplished that. So why are they putting down your accomplishment, right? Yeah, it's very sad. It's a sad way to live. Oh, yes. Crystal Jean says, my covert narc sister was always insulting my mothering and how to raise my kids. When her mothering left a lot to be desired, it left me speechless. Yes. Yeah. that's in response to the story about my covert narc's boyfriend, who was the overt narc, right? Oh my gosh, it's just amazing. The advice that they give is so horrible. Horrible advice. Worst advice ever. I'm trying to remember what it was. It was so long ago now. Maybe 7 years ago now. Maybe, yeah, something like that. I'm trying to remember what was, because I would just remember when he said the advice, I just was thinking, what the heck? I would never do that with my kids. And I'm sure the other couple is thinking the same thing, like, what the heck? Okay, you guys. Well, I wanted to give you a few minutes to wrap up your conversations, and thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you being here. Yeah, and I'm sorry, I'm just seeing what the last couple of comments are. Vonda says, my soon-to-be narc, ex-narc, right, has a woman already, the same one I picked up on the flirting 2 years ago. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you know, and of course the denial. There was nothing there, right? Oh, incredible. Sorry, I'm just looking at some of the other comments. She isn't stealing, Vonda says, she isn't stealing my energy. I'm so closed off to her. Oh, we're actually still here on the live feed. Oh, you missed the beginning of the live feed. Yeah, Crystal Jean says, I've stopped communicating with my toxic, abusive sister, and my mom tries to get me to reach out. She needs you, Crystal. She's got a glitch. She has no one else. Be the better, blah, be the hero, blah, blah, blah. You wonder how I became narc bait, LOL. Yes, this is true. Oh my gosh, this is why the fan club or the flying monkeys, you know, those who are sympathetic to the narcissist and don't understand narcissism, they will guilt the innocent victim to keep going back and to keep receiving, accepting, you know, taking on the abuse of the narcissist. And I'm here to tell you, you're not responsible to make the narcissist's life better. The narcissist is responsible for their own life. They're responsible for their own choices. They're responsible to make their own life better. Even if your parent is telling you you're responsible, you could be the better person. You are the better person. You're showing by example how to be a good person. You're there. If the narcissist is a total jerk, you are not there to enable it. You know, that is not our responsibility to enable narcissism and narcissistic behavior. You're not there to do that. That makes the world worse, you know. So thank you so much for pointing that out as well, Crystal. It's sad. So you guys, thank you very much for joining me. I hope that this has been helpful, and please leave comments and stories and what you have learned below if you've missed the live feed. And also, if you would watch a commercial once in a while, that would be great. I appreciate that. Or maybe even click on the visit the advertiser. I'm not sure how YouTube works or anything like that, but I'm purposely not going after a lot of stuff right now with YouTube, but that would definitely, certainly help. So blessings to you. Have a great week, and I will see you again next week.